Our next speaker is an e-government enthusiast, having spent recent years in top management positions for Romanian IT businesses. We welcome Mihnea Mihailescu, Deputy CEO of Trend Cadis Corp. Trend Cadis Corp is an organic, growing Romanian integrator managing complex IT systems and is accessed by more than 100,000 citizens daily. Mihnea will share some key insights from public administration sector on how embracing big data and digitalization can improve our daily life. Thank you, Mihnea. Let's start.
Hello, Christina. Thank you for the introduction. Hello to all the participants and fellow presenters of this very interesting conference. I would like to thank eSolutions for this endeavor of organizing Big Data Week in Romania. I think it's a very, it was a very courageous move, and it's surely important for the technical and business community in the IT&C sector in Romania to have such an event here. Trencadis as a company has been engaged over the past years in the what I call paving the digital highways. And this is an intended analogy with the infrastructure of highways of Romania, which of course it's not in a good shape at this moment. So we consider a big responsibility and an important mission to help those who are really hardly working in the direction of digitalizing the public sector in Romania, having online public services accessible for all citizens and at a reasonable cost, and saving a lot of time and money for all of us. So this is one of the key missions of Trencadis, and I'm happy to see that along our journey, other companies in the IT sector have joined us for this mission, and I will talk later about this. But eSolutions, the organizer of this, the co-organizer of this event, is one of the companies who have understood the importance of working also for the public institutions in Romania, and we stand side by side in some of our projects, difficult ones with a lot of challenges, but if we don't do it and if we don't get involved, then we think that we do not give back to our society, the investment of the schools which we have attended, most of us in Romania, of course. Where do we start? We start on the 26th place in the European Digital Society Index. I'm sure you all know about this index already. We have increased one place since 2019, but this is not necessarily enough, or it's not necessarily good news, because when it comes to digital public services, which is one of the subcomponents of this index, we are still on the last place in Europe. Romania has evolved a little bit, but the reason, the pace with which Romania is evolving in the digital public services is a lot smaller than the pace to which the European Union is developing. So despite there are some, let's say, good news, like the broadband speed in Romania, like the number of e-government users, we still do not score enough in almost all areas which are taken into account in this top. We will discuss later, but Romania, also like the rest of the European Union member countries, have a strategy, a digital agenda, which has been developed, I think, between 2012 and 2015. The problem is that the pace of adopting what's in the digital agenda is extremely low, and this is why we do not evolve in the direction of having value-added digital public services. Like in big data projects, of course, we need to separate signal versus noise, and there is a lot of noise. Like the fact that we have a lot of e-government users in the DESI index, I consider it noise, because the number of users does not mean that they do anything in the systems, or the number of users can follow the population. Of course, Romania being the 7th population of the European Union, it's kind of logic to have an important number of e-government users, but that does not mean that that these users are able to do some value-added interactions, useful interactions with the e-government systems. Now, from this top, we take some challenges and some opportunities. And opportunities means that we should follow tangible targets step by step in order to go in the direction of big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence, robotization, and so on, automation, and so on. Only if you look in this top, where you see that we rank 7th in the e-government users, but we rank last in the pre-filled forms or online service completion, it's clear that one of the opportunities is to convert this high percentage of users into a higher percentage of online service completion. We can integrate pre-filled data from national registries with simple service projects, and we would start scoring a lot more. And the score is not the objective, of course. The score is just the measurement of the objective, but the objective is that citizens and communities are able to interact with e-government systems in a useful way, in a way which simplifies their lives. Another opportunity is, of course, to expose open data collected via web services instead of the current usage, which is sharing XLS and CSV files. Use existing data, big or not, doesn't matter, but use it in order to create value-added public services. If you first collect data in one place, and then you process it and you share it and you offer it to all the IT companies in Romania, then there will be a big space of opportunities to develop products based on this data. The graphic I showed earlier is from 2019. This is the newest from 2020. And it shows little or no improvement, so it's not necessary to insist on this. It's clear that we rank lower than all the EU average. What are the consequences? The consequence is that we have biased industries, citizens, and public authorities. We have in Romania, we have already difficult or bad negative image of the IT systems in the public sector, and then associated with this image, you risk of having negative image for the companies who work in this area. But if you are an IT company, modern one, and a young one, a Romanian one, and you evolve, you cannot avoid interacting with the systems of the state, of the local administration or the central administration. And when you interact, you cannot ignore the differences between what you as a company are offering to your clients and what you as a client need to use in the relationship with the government or local systems. Question is, are there any good steps toward datafication and big data in the e-government sector? And now, of course, depending on how optimistic or pessimistic you are, you can say that yes, there are a lot of important steps, or you can say no, there is no important step in this area. I will not insist, but Estonia did it in two very, very clear and simple steps. First, they built an X road, which is like a highway of services offered to all institutions and all private companies. And then they established something called Statistics Estonia, where they put together data scientists and statisticians. They put together all their data. They built an architecture up front in order to offer this data and offer analysis and correlations to the public institutions of the state, to the companies through any channel like web apps, mobile apps, embedded apps, and so on. They thought about implementing the 5 V's for big data: the volume, the variety, the velocity, veracity, and value. So you just need to think about it and then to execute it. Just having a digital agenda or a strategy does not mean that you are, let's say, important steps further on your journey to having a digital highway. There are some use cases in Romania which I would like to focus on in the next, let's say, minutes. One of the systems which was, let's say, a pioneer in Romania was the cadastre system. It was a pioneer because they started developing an IT system which replaced all the paperwork somewhere in between 2006 and 2008. The project had started actually in 2002, but first steps were not very conclusive. So first they built an important IT system which supports the activity. The results of having such a system are undisputable. We ranked almost 70 places higher in the World Bank Doing Business report. We decreased the average number of days for having an excerpt for any citizen from 20 days in 2007 to 1 point something days currently and for the past couple of years. The agency has contributed with their services to generating value for the state budget. They process daily more than 30,000 requests, and they can be paid online. Now, having a functional system, IT system, covering all your processes, of course, offers you a level 3 or 4 of sophistication of services. Now, what are the opportunities in big data, in the big data area? Because now you have a lot of data and you need to do something about it, because the future tells you that if you don't exploit the volumes of data which you have access to, then the quality of your services will decrease. And there are at least 2 opportunities which I identify and mention here. For the system cadastre, you can make text analytics on parcel data and identify areas with juridical misuse just by correlating data and searching text like civil complaint, dispute, lawsuit, settlement, or mediation. You can have big data based on an interoperability platform which shares data between other institutions and the cadastral agency. You can share data from ANAF, from the utilities company's cadastre, from the raw water institution, and you can offer value-added excerpts for citizens when they want to buy a piece of land. They can have instantly excerpts for all the parcels in the area with information like flooding risks, like high taxation areas, like overpriced real estate, and so on and so forth. And for all of these, you get money. You offer it as a service, and the citizen pays you, or the company pays you money for these excerpts, and you increase the budget, which then you can use for further developing your systems. Another opportunity can be discussed for the raw alert system. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows already about this system. It's a system which sends emergency alerts via cell broadcasting protocol of mobile phones to all citizens in a certain area which is considered of risk, of life-threatening risk. Now the system is already operational, so we have one very important and good step done. Next phases of the system are aimed at diversifying the channels for sending the alerts to TV stations, radio stations, social media channels. And when you do this, you can then integrate in a big data project. You can integrate data from social media. You can perform text and video analytics in order to study the behavioral response to critical events, and thus improving the strategy of emergency alerting patterns and channels. Another use case is the trade registry. Of course, the trade registry as a system has a lot of data because they have been using an IT system for their activity starting 2007, 2009. So they have been collecting a lot of data. Now, the challenge is to use this data for several value-added objectives. You can use predictive analysis on the evolution of institution activity, and thus forecasting the allocation of requests and of people in your offices. You can process structured and unstructured data to produce correlations between historic evolution of a company, thus improving the quality and reliability of the information which the institution produces and outputs to the market. The picture here is a publicly available picture, is from the big data project, which right now the trade registry is conducting. It is a very challenging project. It has very ambitious objectives, but next year, when probably it will be operational, it will bring a lot of improvement to the activity of the institution, and also to the services offered to citizens. Another use case would be for the Competition Council in Romania. The Competition Council is also an institution which is a visionary in terms of using IT systems. They have started recently a big data project. This is the architecture picture from the publicly available documentation. Their objectives are to streamline the activity by being able to assess in a shorter period of time a much higher data volumes from structured, unstructured data, and from external data sources. The result, of course, being the improvement of the activity of the institution. They want and they can integrate and operate an analytical capitalization of large volumes of data in order to support the investigative activities of the institution, but also the prevention function. And imagine that integrating data from the Ministry of Justice, from the complaints national institution, from media monitoring, and from other public institutions, the data which is used in order to analyze the fake public bidding or groups of interest or cartels, all these will be done faster and with a lot more processed data by a computer, by an IT system, which means that the quality of the service which is offered is increasing. There are a lot of other use cases which could easily follow. I just gave here 2 examples, but imagine what you can do by integrating the public acquisition system with the Ministry of Justice and with Competition Council in order to identify deviations, let's say, from the public acquisition law. And yeah, this way you can optimize the way that the public budget, state budget, is being spent. Now, there are a number of challenges and opportunities which arise from going on this road of having big data projects, and we need to keep in mind what is the final objective. The final objective is to improve the citizen life by improving the way they interact with the state. We have identified a few stakeholders in this endeavor, like the public administration, the companies, the citizens, and the universities. And we need to talk about it and to promote it and to push public institutions to adopt what we can easily see it has been adopted already in other countries. So we need a digital ID and digital signature. We need the governmental cloud. We need a state tax online payment. We need e-prescriptions. We need big data and then share it, open data. These are just a few steps, let's say basic steps. It's not a comprehensive list, but it's basic steps. In terms of companies, we need to improve the ratio of using IT systems for managing the operational activity, like CRM, ERPs, and others. We need to improve the client interaction online. Right now, according to DESI index, we are at 11% versus EU average, which is 18%. So that means that not only our state, our public sector is falling behind the EU, but also the SMEs, the companies. In terms of citizens, we need to use online identity. We need to use online and mobile banking. Right now, we use online banking just for 11% of citizens, while the EU average is 66%. So the gap is huge. Buying online goods and services, shopping, it's at 29% for Romania versus 71% for the EU. In terms of schools and universities, we need to push for digital alphabetization. Again, we are at 31% versus EU 58%. We need to focus on professions of the future. We cannot teach our kids right now in schools what, let's say, some old-fashioned manuals were having inside for the past 20 years. We need to think about big data, machine learning, AI, robotization. We need to prepare them for the challenges of the future, of their future life, and we need to prepare them also in terms of financial education, of political and civic education, entrepreneurial education, which is something which 2 or 3 generations behind we didn't have, so it's difficult. But these are actions which can be done, which are important to be done, have been proposed by a lot of representatives of the IT industry, like the Concordia Association, like ANIS, like the Cluj IT cluster, and others. So our mission is to promote these measures on all possible channels and try to attract as many companies from the IT industry in this endeavor, because it can't be done if IT sector does not get involved. So the key takeaway for me, to you, to representatives of the IT industry, is getting involved along with other companies into this endeavor of paving the digital highways of Romania. Thank you. That that was my mission for this conference, and I want to thank once more eSolutions Group, because they have understood our mission, and they have agreed to give back to our society by involving also in public sector projects, which is something which most of our beautiful IT specialists do not necessarily want to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mihnea. You are perfect with timing. Great presentation. Because we have just a few minutes, 2 minutes to end up this presentation, I will go only with one question. And the question for you is, how do big data project flow differs in public administration compared to private organization?
There are a lot of differences, but the main difference is caused by and imposed by the public acquisition law. The law in Romania is very strict in terms of spending the state budget, which means that you need to have from the RFP level a lot of detailed specifications, and the bidders, the suppliers, will need to comply with them. And if there will be scope deviations during the delivery of the project, you have extremely few ways to tackle and to manage these deviations. So from an operational point of view, the big data project in public sector is different than any big data project in private sector, but it's something which is common to public sector projects. Now, if I'm to talk about the technical aspects, I would say that the differences are mainly in the area of, let's say, maturity of the IT systems and accuracy of the data which you need to integrate. There is a big data principle which says crap in, crap out. If you integrate high volumes of data but you have crap data, then you need to do a lot more things in order to process it and to obtain useful information for your beneficiaries, which are the citizens. So the difficulties, I would say, are in these two areas, but the operational part is the most important because it creates challenges and a lot of effort in the, let's say, administrative and legal part of the project.
Thank you, Mihnea. Thank you very much for your answers, and thank you for our presentation. We will close this session now, and we invite you to join our next one. Thank you.
Thank you very much.